I'm pleased to welcome Seema Chaturvedi. She is the Managing Director of Accelerator Group, a boutique investment banking firm. She's also a past president of TIE Detroit and a past trustee on the Global Board of Trustees of TIE Global. Seema, a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here.
I think people here, especially the members of TIE, have to learn from you since you were among the founding members of the chapter here. Why do you think, A, the need to start TIE in Detroit, and second, being on the global board, how do you think TIE Detroit fared compared to other chapters?
All right. To answer the first question in terms of why did I feel the need, I think as an investment banker, especially focused on small middle market deals, I didn't find enough forums, being a female investment banker, where I could network. And yet I had this boss who is Jewish, and he would look at me and say, Seema, how come you never network as much as you should be? And I said, well, I don't find enough forums. So I read about TIE Chicago. I loved the concept. TIE was still very nascent. This is still early 2000, late 1990s. And I said, this is great. Would you guys come here, or can you make some events happen in Michigan? And the response was, yeah, but we have enough of a following here, so why don't you travel? So it was actually in a discussion with my boss, and he said, why don't you start the local chapter? And I said, great idea. So I called Kanwal, and I said, Kanwal, you don't know me, but I think there's a great need for a TIE chapter here. Of course, I went through all the points of saying, is there enough of a critical mass? And I think we passed all the tests. Kanwal was very supportive. In fact, he was here at our inauguration. And there was enough of a local need from a critical mass standpoint. And I had great support from the local successful entrepreneurs. So we formed this. It's been great. And we've been doing annual events since. It's actually inspired me to be an entrepreneur myself. And in fact, I was just talking speaking at a session, and they were asking me my journey as an entrepreneur. And reminiscing back, it actually began in the same hotel, Ritz, 7 years ago, when it was more of an epiphany. And I said, you know what, I think I need to be an entrepreneur myself. So TIE has been great. In terms of TIE Detroit's contribution to TIE Global, I think a lot of chapters have gone through teething problems and growing pains. We've been through our fair share. It started great. I think it was a reflection also of the times of the economies, especially in Michigan. But the current team, I have to give them full marks, kudos. Great team, great energy, and I think that's really what Michigan needs right now. And from a contribution standpoint to TIE Global, TIE Global's been a very patient parent. But they're beginning to see the impact of that, the rewards of that patience. And I'm sure going forward, TIE Detroit will be a very robust member of the global platform.
I want to build on what you just said in your previous statement as you started your journey, and obviously I want to capture some elements of that at this very same hotel 7 years ago.
Yes.
So if you can share anecdotal examples, one or two.
Sure. We were organizing, much like the current organizer, the current team, we were organizing this team, and Kanwal was over, and he asked me, what do you do? And I was working for another firm. And India was kind of still, in California, of course, India was very robust from an economy participation standpoint. And he said, would you consider doing some stuff for your firm in India? And I said, maybe it's a great idea. And I took it to my bosses, and they said, I really don't know if that'll fly. And I said, you know what, maybe I should try it on my own. And I think this was a confluence of factors, but support of people that were around here, encouragement by likes of Kanwal Reiki, etc. And that really made me think, maybe I should be an entrepreneur as opposed to an employee.
Let me then ask you, as a woman, were there any particular challenges which you felt were more than your male counterparts?
But I was just asked this question in my women's forum. Yeah, for me, it's a little difficult to isolate necessarily the challenges that a woman entrepreneur faces versus an entrepreneur, because ultimately we operate in the same playing field. The challenges initially people would look at me and saying, given that investment banking is a high-touch business and you need to be around your client a lot, I think there were concerns about continuity, the level of seriousness. Was it just one of those hobby things for me? How serious was I? But having worked with some great groups like the TVS group and names like that, once you're in, you're in. And so it has been some effort, but I would imagine even a male entrepreneur would go through it in earning that respect. And once you earn that respect, people come to identify you with integrity and an ability not to drop the ball and make sure that the project gets executed. So after the initial few years of having had a track record from coming from a previous firm and people having seen my work in my previous firm, I think there was more continuity, and it wasn't so much about it being woman or man. The challenges were, like any other entrepreneur would face, more about making sure there's enough money to meet payroll and, do you have enough in the pipeline? If you have enough in the pipeline, are you executing well so that you can continue business?
I've said this often today to many speakers. I think they have done a tremendous job here.
Yes.
And putting this conference together and making it very successful. And you gave your acknowledgement to it as a past president.
Yes.
And an active member of the community. If there are any two takeaways that you would advise the emerging entrepreneurs here to take from this conference, what would they be?
Well, I think identify what you're passionate about would be number one. Because ultimately what will sustain you through the long nights and the deep depression that comes oftentimes with failure and rejection is to have it in your gut that you're passionate about it. And I think having met with a lot of successful entrepreneurs, a lot of wannabe entrepreneurs hopefully are taking that away. The second is persistence. I mean, again, these are cliched, but if you've lived through it, you understand the real importance of it. And, rejection, I mean, I get rejected all the time, and it's just part of being an entrepreneur. So I think if you bat long enough, you hopefully hit a home run.
Seema, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mateen.